Hey Pokemon fans, this is JJ Genesis of PokemonDungeon.net and this is your mailbag. So, yeah, like I said, I'm a new mailbag guy. Yeah, I'm just JJ Genesis or Josh, come whatever you want. So I'm just going to get straight into the questions now. Let's go! The first question was sent in to me by Kira is my lord, and it is, what is my favourite Pokemon? I believe they mentioned in the email that theirs was like a combination of first, second and Gen 5 Pokemon as well. And I'd probably have to say, as of Gen 5, my favourite Pokemon is Haxorus, but I do tend to have a favourite from every generation instead of one, like, overall favourite. So I'd have to say for Generation 1, my favourite would be Blastoise, because that was like the first starter Pokemon I ever had. Then for Gen 2, I'd have to say Lugia, just because I like the look of it. Gen 3, I was obsessed with Groudon for a long time, but I'd have to say my favourite was actually Blaziken. In Generation 4, my favourites actually stopped being starters and legendaries. Because in Generation 4, I actually really liked Abomasnow. I don't know why, I just liked something about a snowy tree. And then in Gen 5, like I said, I quite liked Haxorus, but I also like Hydreigon a lot as well, so that's kind of a tied favourite. And now Kurt wants to know what I think the worst type is, and I would have to say Bug, but the worst typing I've come across has to be Bug and Grass, because they share so many of the same weaknesses. I think it ends up with 3 like quad weaknesses and several dual weaknesses. It also loses several of the resistances Grass has because it's part Bug. It just becomes a terrible Pokemon. But I'd have to say Grass, well, not Grass, I'd have to say Bug is the single worst type because it's just weak to a lot and doesn't really have much it's strong against. Anyway, next question. The next question comes from Mr. Flame XD3 and he says, will there be video walkthroughs on this site? From what I've heard, yes, but your best bet is ask David because I have no actual idea. And now Levivor, GoZelda and several other people want to know what my favourite generation is. And I'd have to say, purely based on the story of it, I'd have to say Generation 5 very quickly became my favourite generation, with Generation 1 being a very close second. Like I said, the only reason Gen 5 got ahead is the actual story to Gen 5. So yeah, that's pretty good. I like Gen 5. Good game. You should get it. Can't wait for Black and White 2. Which is actually another common question that was asked is, what are my thoughts on Black and White 2? Why didn't they do Grey? Black and White 2 is something different because they're making a sequel to a game instead of like just making a clone of it with different features. I'm quite looking forward to seeing what they do with it, but I've not really seen enough to base an opinion yet. And finally from Kanto of Hyrule, they want to know what I think of the Pokemon Black and White anime series and what I think of Cilan and whether I prefer him to Brock and Tracy. I'll start off with the second question here, which is Cilan. I quite like Cilan. He's never going to replace Brock. Kind of the same way Tracy was never going to replace Brock. They were both really good characters. Yeah, they were both good characters in their own right, and I think Cilan again, he's like defining his own character. He's a good sidekick for Ash to have. He's a good character on his own, and that's all I can really think about it because it's just a good character. It's kind of like if you wanted me to go back and compare May, Dawn, and Iris to Misty, it'd be like, yeah, Misty was a good character, but then again, May, Dawn, and Iris, they're all good characters in their own right. Because they're all different. So I'd have to say Cilan is doing a good job of being the sidekick though. And my actual thoughts on the anime, I'm quite enjoying the Black and White series. It's a lot more, it seems a lot more fast paced than the past few series as well, because what I noticed is in Generation 4 and the Diamond and Pearl series, I think there was something like 50 episodes between Ash getting 2 of his badges. And I'm like, really? You need 50 episodes for all that? But I will admit, the gyms that we're travelling between I think were quite far away from each other at the time. But still, 50 episodes is a bit much. But it's so much more, I think Black and White is so much more fast paced, it's really enjoyable. If you don't watch it, I suggest you watch the first couple of episodes, give it a try. Maybe you'll enjoy it, maybe you won't. Doesn't really matter if you don't enjoy it, but yeah, just watch it. Give it a try. Anyway, that's all we have time for this episode of the Mailbag. If you want to send me a question, please send it to mailbag@PokemonDungeon.net. I am JJ Genesis, your new host, and enjoy the rest of your days.